that we find a way to get our community engaged and get them some information regarding what's going on in Montgomery. We look at what's going on in DC, and if nobody else is worried, at least I'm worried. I'm worried about where we are and where we're headed as a nation, really as a world, because what's going on in our nation is emblematic of what is going on throughout the world. So I'm thinking about it, worried about it, and then I see it actually happening in Montgomery with some of the things that we're dealing with down there in Montgomery. Before I go any further, I have a young man here with us that works for the caucus, for the Democratic caucus. He has Gumptown magazine, Mr. Jamal Thomas. So he's a young businessman that the caucus, the Democratic caucus, has employed to help us get messages out of what's going on down there in Montgomery as far as what we are doing. Mm-hmm. As you came in on 28, did you see all of that construction right down there as a road that's going through? That was and the mayor was, I think, here when the governor came down and actually cut, we broke the ground, turned the shovel, turned the dirt. That's been a real fight for our caucus, but the thing about it, it's going to open up this area. It will create a north-south corridor over on the west side of Alabama. We have 80 running through from east to west or from west to east, but we don't have a full four-lane corridor. This is the beginning of that four-lane corridor. It'll come up 43 from Thomasville all the way up through Dixon Mills to Linden, go around Linden, then head on up 69. It's going to go around Greensboro once it gets up 69, and then connect there in Moundville with 69 there in Moundville. So that's the plan for this. This is being done. You remember a few years ago, we passed the gas tax. The funds, we told people that the funds would be used for projects that you could see. It wouldn't be stuff for growing the Department of Transportation or anything of that nature. You see these blue signs throughout the state. These are projects that are affected directly by that gas tax funding. So it has, hopefully, people have seen it, and it has been a real success for them. We are just passed the general fund budget in the House. It's up in the Senate now, and we aren't sure what they're going to do with the general fund up there. But in the general fund, we have about $3.8 billion that we have to use and allocate throughout the state. With the general fund, we do things like ALEA, we do the extension service is out of, some of it is out of the general fund, and some is out of the education trust fund, some of the funding for the extension service. But we do ALEA, we do mental health, we do DHR, Department of Transportation, Medicaid, all of these things come out of that $3.8 billion. The Education Trust Fund is a bit more hefty. This year it'll be a $9.7 billion fund which they have to allocate. We just passed that budget out of the, we passed it on Thursday, passed it out of the House. We did what is called the RAISE Act. I don't know if you all have been following up on that, but the RAISE Act is a effort to change the way we allocate funding to the school. Currently, schools get money based on the population of that school on a certain day, 20 days or something like that after they start. After Labor Day. And so whatever their census is at that time. Here in Marengo County, we don't have just a huge ad valorem tax. Our taxes are not that high. So we don't have a lot of local funding our education system and our school systems. But when you look up in Mountain Brook, where they have probably a 60, 40, 50, 60 mills of taxes versus, I think here in Marengo it's about 18, am I correct? But the lowest that any county can have is 10 mills. And you have Tuscaloosa, for instance, has 10 mills, the county does. The city of Tuscaloosa has 23. We have 18 mills. People are not passing millage taxes right now. They had a referendum in Tuscaloosa City. They've had one in Tuscaloosa County. They had one over in Millbrook and Prattville and all of these areas, and they have all failed. But take Linden, for instance. It doesn't cost, Alabama Power don't give Linden a break on their power bill because they don't have, a whole lot of students to get a whole lot of money. They don't give them a break. They may not have enough funding to actually have a whole teacher unit for, just say, American history. I'm just using something. I don't know what it's like or what they are doing, but this is designed to where we have this shortfall for these systems that don't have adequate funding. The RAISE Act is designed, it's $58 million. It's what's involved here. Well, we got the person that knows all the answers just walked in the door. Representative Thomas Jackson. But the RAISE Act is designed to help these small systems get some additional funding on top of their pupil ratio, so that indeed we can maybe have that unit paid for, that teacher unit paid for that it can't pay for right now. So that's what the RAISE Act is doing, and it was passed in the education budget. The CHOOSE Act, though, was passed a couple of years ago. And the CHOOSE Act is where we can give out to an individual up to $7,000 if they want to send their child somewhere else. I haven't been very supportive of that one, and I think the verdict is still out on how that is actually working, because I see it as something that where we're basically funding people that are already going to private school. we're basically giving them $7,000 to go to a private school. They say it's designed to allow kids that can't afford to go to private schools to have money to go to private schools, but if you know the cost of any of these private schools, usually you're going to run in the neighborhood of about $17,000, $18,000 a year per child. So $7,000 would not allow someone that can't afford to send their child to private school to be able to send them. So that's, the verdict is still out on that part of the Education Trust Fund. Are you ready to talk about, I'll keep going. And I'm trying to think of something else that we funded the HBCUs, all of the HBCUs. I tell you, one of the initiatives that is in there is to try and get teachers in these areas that are hard to find teachers. We have additional funding that we have added in there so that principals, math and science, special ed, if a system can attract someone to come there, then they can offer some additional funding for those teachers in those specific areas to come into these areas that's hard to populate. So that's something for last year. It got started last year to be located right here in Democracy, well, right in Democracy, and here in Marengo County. That it will be a game changer, but it's going to take all of us because it's a statewide school. Anybody know anything about the Alabama School of Math and Science in Mobile, Alabama? That's the oldest statewide high school that's specialized. You also have the Cyber High School, which is up in Huntsville. That one was formed about 3 years ago. And then you have the Fine Arts in Birmingham, School of Fine Arts in Birmingham. And that one has been operational for quite a while. This will be the fourth school that is a statewide school. And this one will specialize in healthcare science. It will be tied to a hospital up here, which is right now, you know, you'll be able to have students who will get hands-on training. We have doctors up at UAB that have agreed to actually come down and work with these students that are in this school. And it'll be a live-in, you live on campus. So it will be a dormitory style facility. So we've got that coming, and we're just trying everything we can to increase business here in West Alabama. I wish we had more people here, but hey, those that are here, we're glad you're here because hopefully it will enable you to be able to answer some of the questions that others may have. So I'm going to stop right there and then bring up Representative Jackson, and I'm going to grab me some water right quick.
Thank you, Jay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I want to first thank you all for coming, for having enough insight and enough love for your remarks to be here and trusting your representative. I want to thank AJ for spearheading this. I'm going to get in because I'm coming out of Presby Church. I told my 80 miles. That was a little longer than 80 miles. I broke all the rules coming.
No, Dad, I'm gonna leave.
Right here now.
I got my get out of jail free card. I saw one trooper, and he followed me all the way out and drove in. And I drove 55 until when I saw looked in the mirror, saw him turn out.
You picked it up.
Friend, we glad to see you. I mean, it's really appalling that we don't participate as much as we should in the process. And you see why we're in the mess that we're in, because we sit at home and let somebody else do it. And when somebody else do it, they don't do it the way you want it done. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
See, I don't know if you've been getting in the car, I don't know what you've gone over, but we're state legislators. We represent the state and districts across the state. I've been getting a lot of calls about Social Security, Medicaid. Y'all vote for these people. I said, what you expect? When you vote for a crook, you expect criminal activity. But I am delighted and grateful to be here. I don't know what our colleague had gone over, but I heard him talk about the Tuesday Act. And you know, most people were applying for that. People already in private school. Where do you go if you apply for it in Linden? You see what I'm saying? Thomasville, where they go if they apply for it? So it's really giving money away to people that don't really need it. Invest that money in the schools that are already in existence and make them what they should be. I'm upset with, I love what's happening on the side about the medical technology, getting kids ready for some type of degree in medicine or in health science. But every school in this state should be qualified as those type schools. Sanford, Madison, South, and Mobile, Little Rock, wherever it is, all our kids should have the same choice of opportunities when it comes to education. And then we have charter schools. They say public charter schools, but you're taking money from Linden City to put where? You're taking money from the city of Linden and from the Marvelous and from all other county schools in Marengo County to put where? And see, and what's going to happen, this war has just started. It's 50 years of this war on public education. Mayor, so good to see you. And I'm appalled at some of the things that are happening in Montgomery, but you're blessed that you got people that fight for you. You got 3 representatives, and but your senator, who I have no problem trying to get here, I ain't gonna tell you what Bobby is over there.
He's speaking at
See, we always somewhere trying to tell people about what we are trying to do and what needs to be done. But the apathy that we have from our constituents, and it hurts when we are there fighting every day. And I'm saying every day. It's not something happened yesterday and it don't happen again 3 months away. No, it's every day. Paul said we're not fighting against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against wicked spirits, the takeover, the white nationalism. It's up there in Montgomery. It's not just in Washington. White supremacy, evangelicals, and Commissioner, what is really taking place here is that if you read Bible and you read any Bible prophecy, it's to be church and state. The church tells the state what they want passed, and the state passes it. It's a marriage. I call it now. It's a courtship, or maybe engagement. But the real marriage is going to take place in the future. When the church tell us that you can't show up and you can't do this and that, and the state passed these laws, we're passing laws like that. All this stuff against gender.
That's what
Huh?
I said.
I shouldn't care nothing about who you are as long as you're not breaking the law. So why did I get mad with you and make a law so you can break it? So I can lock you up. And we're dealing with that. And we don't have no problems in Alabama with none of this stuff. Yeah, right. You got a solution for a problem now. Are you a solution looking for the problem? You see what I'm saying? So we are dealing with these type issues every day when we can build $4 billion prison and rural hospital closed. Now these are real issues. Nobody in the streets about that, but when the Marcus is on the line, I told him, I said, in the 60s, that's what we were. We was out in the streets. So now I'm sitting back and watching. But I encourage people to get out and voice their opinion, because if you don't, the right to petition is going to be taken away. They're trying to take freedom of speech away. You can't speak unless you're speaking what they want to hear.
All right. Oh, and I just thought about that.
Go ahead, go.
I just thought about
Go.
that. Y'all be proud of it. One day, we were in the middle of a heated battle. We had gotten our calendar for the day, special order calendar. And based on our rules, you have the right to, as a legislature, we can speak on the calendar before we adopt the calendar. But this day, the speaker and some of his cohorts had decided that they were going to adopt the calendar without acknowledging our right or our desire to speak. And they literally rammed it right on through. Finally, on the first bill, they called on Representative Jackson. And he began to talk about the calendar and how things were not the way they should be, because the speaker did not recognize him to do what our rules said we had the right to do, and the speaker decided he was going to try and bluster up and sit Representative Jackson down. He said, "No, I ain't sitting down. I'm not going to stop talking about what I want to talk about, because the speaker has said it's not germane to the bill." And he said, "I don't care nothing about whether it's germane to the situation we're dealing with."
That's right.
And then the last thing he told him said, "If you don't want to hear what I got to say, you better call the police. That somebody will have to take me out, because I'm not going." And you know, at that time, I got up, his other brother got up, and we walked right down there close to him. They were going to have to take all of us. But that's what we're having to deal with, you all. It's a situation where, it's a situation where they did what we call a closure calendar. A closure calendar is bills that they know we are going to object to. They give us 10 minutes to talk about it, and then they vote it on through. These are the things that we're facing down there in terms of trying to combat things that will just are not beneficial to our area, to our people, and you know, so it's a constant battle, but it's one that we have to wage. And we can't be shy about waging it. I can't sit here and determine I'm not going to say this because I'm worried about whether I'm going to be elected next time.
That's true.
If the people choose not to send me there, so be it. But I've got to stay and do the best I can while I'm there.
That's right.
For those that elect me, and that's what we do. So, I'm sorry, when you said that, I thought about you.
I forgot all about that. You know. That's what we have to fight every day. And when you talk about the Second Amendment, then you know the guns. So now you can go get a gun and register. Pistol permit, you can conceal, open carry. Long as we killing each other. See, and we shouldn't buy into that because that's double elimination. And I tell young men that all the time. One in cemetery and all in the prison. So you're losing two men. And what do we have when men leave our community in that manner?
Women fight.
What did you say?
Women fight.
Let me say, I am persistent. 14 years I've been introducing a bill for early voting. Can't even get it on the calendar. In committee.
Right.
That's how anti they are to your freedom, your rights. The question I asked the rules chairman, are you for voting or against voting? They had a voting bill on the calendar to purge people from the voting list. So evidently you're for voting, but the question was never answered. It's the way you want it done. And I feel this way, as long as I'm a citizen in good standing, I should never have to be taken off the vote. I vote when I want to vote, and you don't take my name off because I didn't vote in the last 3-4 elections. And this is what they're doing. 55,000 people have been taken off. And these people just didn't show up to vote. For any reason they didn't want to. But they, yes.
No, go ahead and I'll answer.
But they chose not to show up, and you choose to take me away because I don't show up. But we got to do more participating, or more educating our people about the process. Because they're doing everything they can to eliminate us from it. John Lewis got his brains beat out almost on that Pettus Bridge for voting. And you know what Mr. Trump did? He signed an executive order suppressing voting rights around the nation. He want to control voting in this nation. He want to control the nation from his office. And that's dictatorship from 101, if you don't know any better. And see, we got to get more involved. And I know I'm going to have an opponent. I've been asked to run again.
So,
I got it. Please.
I'm going to have the same opponent. And I say, they want to elect a Republican, then y'all go ahead and elect a Republican. And I go to the House. But he won't be representing you nor me. He's going to be representing their party. And we don't need people representing parties, we need people representing people. The needs of our people are greater because we've been taken away, so much been taken away from us. And so that's why we fight every day. This gentleman and all of us, every black member up there fight for the members of this state, black people and other constituents. We just don't go to the microphone and call out black people. We call out our constituents. A lot of them are poor, white folks. But they'll vote against their own because it's, and that's where we are. Then they cry. When eggs $7 a dozen, they said, well, I thought they were going to bring the egg down. I said, yeah, a lot of things y'all got lied to about.
That's true.
Man can't do that by himself.
What do you expect out of a life?
Lie.
You lied to your face.
And that's all you're going to get from him. I said, what you going to get from a criminality? And he lied before he does anything else. But I want to say to us, I'm just grateful. Is there any particular things that you want to just air up and talk about and let us do? Because there's a lot of stuff that we can talk about which ain't not interesting to you. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead. I got two questions I want to ask. The first question I heard Representative McCcampbell say about, getting students to come and getting these hard subjects. Have you all ever thought about offering a stipend to these colleges? Like my daughter went to college, have no earthly idea what she wants to do, and I tried to talk in the education. She said, I don't want to do that. I want to do something else. And I'm like, well, you're guaranteed to get a job if you go to education. I said, how about special education? She said, Mom, I don't want to do that. We need to encourage our children. If we got, you up there at a HBCU, don't know what you want to major in. And then she came back, she said, oh, criminal justice. And I said, good luck with that. Because where are you going to find a job in criminal justice? I'm not saying I'm not down in criminal justice, but I'm thinking, where are you going to find a job if you want to come back to Marengo County to live? Where are you going to find a job in criminal justice? Second question I want to address that Mr. McCcampbell said was about this new school coming in Marengo County. But y'all don't have none of us on the board. We don't even have a voice in that. No person of color is represented on, and the person that's representative, if I'm wrong, you correct me, is at large. So that person is not voting. But then the person that was speaking, who they hired as interim president, we were in Demopolis, Alabama, and he was not even able to talk about, or he was not articulating about the school. So how are you going to be the president of this college and you can't articulate every time somebody asks you a question? Well, let me get back with you. Let me look that up. Let me get back with you. You all got up here and spoke fluent to us. So I have some feeling that you know what you're talking about. But if you're going to represent me, you should be able to get up. I don't want Commissioner Armstead to get up and talk about Marengo and can't talk about Marengo County. You got to flip through all that paper. So, these are the things that we want to be represented. We want to be equal in this stuff. So how do we, in Lower Alabama, in Linden, Alabama, be a part of such great opportunities that's coming to our county?
All right.
So now, and let me just add to that, we don't want to be a part of, because my concern with that school, and I'm an educator and I work in education, so this is outside of being the mayor, because I think it's a great thing for the economy. But as an educator, our enrollment is low. Enrollment is low everywhere. I talk to folks every day and they say, well, our enrollment is dropping, it's falling. How do we in Linden City, and even Demopolis, whose enrollment is dropping as well, how do we compete with that? We don't want our students to not have these opportunities, and I think it goes back to something one of you all said about providing opportunities like this, not just for a certain set of students, but for all students, because we don't need to be competing with students for that at that school, because they're gonna pull our best students. Now, they're not gonna have to deal with ACAP and ACT. All of those things are, am I gonna be on, what am I gonna be on with that?
Gumptown magazine.
Am I gonna be on the internet or something?
Facebook.
Oh Jesus. Okay. Anyway,
You got me, you got me.
I get trolled whenever I'm on the internet. But anyway, what I was gonna say is that school is not gonna have to compete with ACT because that's part of our accountability. ACAP's coming to accountability. We have certain assessments that our students take, that we have to be accountable for in order to not have to deal with folks from the State Department coming in and saying, well, you all didn't meet this, or you had this number of students who were not proficient in this. How do we compete with a school like that when they're not gonna have those same issues, and they're gonna be pulling our best students? Now, we want what's best for our students, absolutely. But we don't need another school for us to have to compete with. And again, now I got my mayor hat on. I think it's an amazing thing for the area, for the community, but as an educator, it's troublesome.
I agree, and I've been fighting this. I feel if you're gonna have charter schools, make all schools the same. I'm upset because you got magnet schools. See what it does? It pulls the community apart. It make that group over there who got selected better than this group over here who didn't get there. And what you're doing, you're taking money and you're swapping out, and you're still keeping a distinction between the communities.
What?
Right there in Montgomery, you got several little school systems right there in Montgomery. You got magnet schools, and you got Booker T. Washington, and you got another. And then the parents are competing, trying to get their child in those schools. And when they don't get there, there's a problem. And I felt make all these schools competitive, where they can reach out and kids can go anywhere they want to go to, whichever one they want to go to. Now you're coming all the way over here to West Alabama. Dormitories, yes. But how many kids from West Alabama are going to be? How many of us are going to apply?
Wow.
How many of us are going to be involved in the process? Now you're talking about some president of a school not being able to talk about it. That's a new president at UWA.
No, they got
That hasn't signed.
This is new health and science school.
And he don't know anything about it.
No, he's not.
He wasn't fluent about it. They were asking him questions and he couldn't answer the questions. So that let me know you don't know nothing about it.
Kind of remind me of the folks that's in charge in Montgomery, in Washington.
The health and science school is basically set up in a way that they can only take a percentage of the students. So all of the right.
Yeah, from all over.
Yeah, they'll
all over the
all
state.
over the state of Alabama. But you can't go into the Linden school system and say they got 10 kids.
No, you're not gonna pull 2 or 3 out of that.
And we don't want those to look
Yeah,
before.
you can't pull but a percentage of those out of the school. But I think, it was designed to give, some people some opportunities through the hospital, that once they got out of the school, they would be guaranteed a job through all these hospital systems.
She has a question right here. I'm not cutting you off,
We
but we ain't gonna ever answer that question. You ain't gonna answer that question because she don't know anything about the area. All he knows is probably about health science.
That was one of them.
I'm like Ms. Rogers on Facebook. But I will. No, but what I was saying is that if we're going to, like me, I'm the extension director here. I have to know about extension. I have to be able to represent extension.
Correct.
And when you're representing an entity and you're being selected to be the interim, being the interim of all of this stuff, then you should know about it. And that's poor representation for us, because if you all got up here today and y'all was studying, I said I'm not striking the 6-8 ballot for Thomas Jackson, I'm gonna vote for that Republican. And but because you all get up and you're impressive and you talking and you're making us feel comfortable in this setting, we have trust in you. But when you get up and you can't speak, we don't have trust in you. You can't tell nobody nothing about you, rambling about this college, and then, let me get back with you. How can you have a 30-minute on a program and you talking about let me get back with you every time somebody asks you a question?
And I agree, but I also want to, this is a new concept, and all of it has not been fully developed. But it's a concept that is still in the making. It's the best way I can say it. I will say that it is something that I see as really good for the area in terms of development. I understand the concerns of the school that you pull the best and brightest, but this school is not designed to just pull the best and the brightest, because it's not a school of nurses or nurse anesthetists or
Lawyers.
doctors or things of that nature. Yes, it will have to still adhere to the standards of the test.
Okay. So
It still has to.
accountability.
Yes, that accountability will still, they have to do the same thing that this school in terms of qualifying with their test. But some of the students will be just B students because they have an interest in healthcare science. C students, because they have an interest in healthcare science, but, you know, they don't want to be a doctor, so they don't want all of the biology that they would have to take, or all of the chemistry or anything of that nature. They want to be a CNA, or they want to be a respiratory therapist, or they want to be, you know, something of that nature.
So I'm going back to the model that was, and I think they may do something like that in some places. What was wrong with just opening up the trade schools again, where they could go back and get the CNAs? And again, as mayor, I fully support it.
Yeah.
But what was wrong with just going, because we got a building right there that could house those type programs, and those programs would have been efficient, would have helped the students in our district. They used to bus them from Demopolis, they used to bus them from wherever.
Yeah.
We used to bus them to Demopolis, and they would go get the CNAs, and they would go get the welding, and they would go get not just, and I love the concept. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating, but I'm not against it in any type of way. But I'm just thinking in terms of what would be helpful for us here in this area and in the Black Belt. And moving away from that, and I don't want to, if somebody else have another question, but I was going to ask something off of that subject, as they say on another note. But I want you all to finish
Well, I
that.
want my question answered.
Okay,
About the board members.
about the board members.
Yes.
That's set up as all of the other three boards are set up. The governor has so many appointments.
Mm-hmm.
The lieutenant governor has so many appointments. But anyway, it's not in our hands
I know we
to
still can
appoint.
find no of us to represent.
Well,
I would have loved to serve.
She an at-large member. She
Oh, they moved her off
she-
the board?
She's not off the
She's
board.
member at large.
Member at large. She can't
Okay,
vote.
she done came vote.
who,
Dr. Anderson.
Yes, she
voted.
does vote.
I just
She
said she
voted?
had voted.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought
She,
so.
she's a voting member.
Yeah.
But they are appointed by, I think,
'Cause we had the
UAB
vote.
has
We had
an
the vote.
appointment, you know,
Representation, didn't
somebody
Yeah,
else.
they had the
I
most
forgot
representation
who all
at one
has
Probably South.
it?
appointments.
On the board.
South has, but
All the research hospitals.
all of these research hospitals have
Yeah,
appointments.
we had about,
And
then the Black Belt had about, they had, for a community, they had the most number. Cause it was Dr. Anderson, the Pearson guy,
Rob Pearson.
and then, there was another guy, the little short, I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
I think we had, the Black Belt had about 3 to 4 represented at one time. I don't know what has happened, if anything has happened, but I do remember we had voting. If it wasn't the majority, it was close to, it was like the next group of people that could rattle up somebody else to get a vote across. So I think that's how the setup is.
But-
The last time I looked at it, but
see,
something could have
this,
changed.
this is the other thing that you have to understand, is the parties that are set up to make the appointments is the Republican Party. We didn't have, we don't have the ability to make that appointment. We have the ability to suggest to the governor or to the appointing authorities, but a lot of the appointments are in stature in terms of, like I said, I know UAB, because of their involvement, have an appointment. And I forgot who else has those appointments, but it's specialized appointments, if that makes sense.
Well, it makes sense. I was just
Yeah.
curious, I'm just always.
Right. And I'm giving you the best answer I can, because
No,
I
she
can't-
is at large, you're right. I remember she was on it.
She was appointed.
They've broken it down to districts. So do they have a rolling, do you know the bylaws, do they have a rolling to where like you're rolling on and off like that?
They, it's a congressional
Because
district.
Pearson is not even on
You
here.
have 7 members,
Well,
one
see, they got-
from each
I'm see
congressional
what month it
district.
was.
You got 2 different
When the last
laws,
time was
they
updated.
take it out, he's gonna
Yeah.
have another.
That's why I said it was,
Yeah.
okay.
You
I remember
have
some articles on it.
each, because it's a statewide school,
It's
each
1 year.
congressional district
So
gets
1 year. Is it on-
gets one appointment.
1 year.
And then you have so many at large.
Because
I
it's
don't-
representative of the whole state, so
Right.
it's just like, it ain't just for.
May I say something before we get too far? Not cutting the change the conversation. You got your question answered?
No, this is a free turn on me.
I'm on Morengo County School Board myself, Freddie Charles.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's get some common sense here. Let's look at this from a common point of view. In a radius of 15 miles, we got 3 school systems. Now, we talking about development of this area of how we can help. And we got some things coming in place that can help our kids. But if to look at it from a reality point of view, why our numbers are dropping, family numbers are dropping. My mother had 7 kids. Family now having 2 or 3. We got 3 systems within a 15-mile radius fighting over those 2 kids that our families having now. So your number are gonna drop because you don't have the people. And then those that we are educating, we don't have anything for them to stay here, so they take their education and move to somewhere else. So we still losing. So what are we doing? Like we was talking earlier, this bypass gonna help. It's gonna help. But what are we bringing here that make our kids, when they get to this case, say, I'm staying at home because I can live and raise a family here? It's not that we're not doing anything for our kids or getting them a good education, but we're educating them and they got to go somewhere because their activity and their recreation or whatever is not here. When I want to go out with my family to a nice restaurant or take my kids to a movie, I got to go to Tuscaloosa. My money go to Tuscaloosa.
Sick of it.
I don't have anything here to keep me here, so I want to stay in Marengo County. So are we looking at that from a point of view of, yeah, we have the ideals, we have future funding, we can't get the money because our number, they based on numbers, so we don't have the students in our classes, we can't get the units that we have to put in the class to teach those few we do have. So we have to get together as a system. Do we want to continue to fight against each other? Do we want to come together and get all the funding in one pot and find a central location? And let's build somebody. Hoover. Have those things for all the system because, you know, we got to get rid of this power structure. The power structure. And let's do what's best for the future, and the future's our kids. Family not having 7, 8 kids now that you got a bunch of kids in school. You might find a family with a girl and a boy. When we educate them, where do they go? They leave. They gone. So that's still eliminating our numbers. So let's get back to the basic standard of what can we do to keep them here, what can we bring here to make them want to be educated and employed here.
Well, let me answer him if I can help you right quick. One of the things that actually is going on right now, in the Commerce Department, which goes out for the whole state, they have dedicated, a person dedicated to go with the governor when she goes on recruitment tours. We have a person that's dedicated to carrying the black belt, the whole black belt, all of the locations and things of that nature with them. So Ms. Miller, you may want to make sure you get in touch, or have you, I don't know if you have or not, with that person, because that's her responsibility. Because I went to the governor and told her, you know, you go on these recruiting trips, and we have a whole lot of space here in the Black Belt, but we don't have anybody marketing the Black Belt on these trips.
That's right.
And so she agreed to make sure we had someone dedicated to that, and we do now. So hopefully that's going to help with trying to break, because see, businesses choose where they want to locate their business.
Excuse me, cut you off. They look at accessibility. They look at your education system.
And
And
your
they-
medical.
And your
They
medical.
look at your medical,
They look at those
and
three.
they look at your workforce.
And work.
Yeah.
And to address what the mayor was saying earlier, we understand, in our school system, we understand all kids are not gonna go to college.
Right.
Right now in our system, we got at A.L. Johnson, we got our students doing heavy equipment right now. Down at Marengo, we redid a department and built a cosmetology department down there. We're working on Sweetwater now, where we're gonna get into the technology part of computers and having them do the thing back to the finances, going back to the basic of these kids not being, everybody not going to college. A lot of kids like hand on. So we as a system got to make sure that we're addressing the needs for our kids on what they're capable of doing, or what they're gonna do. And right now, those systems stay full because that's something you have to talk to, address. Like our superintendent went around, we partner with these companies around here. Asking them, what are you all looking for? What are y'all expecting for our students to be? So if they tell them what they need and to get into the workforce, then we compare those kids out of high school. Some gonna be certified, some will be out of high school, make $60,000 to $70,000 a year working heavy equipment. So we looking at what we can keep them here and do and have them educated and not have to go to a 6 or 7 year college or 2 year. But we're making sure they can get credit going into school.
I applaud your superintendent for that. I met with him at Marengo. And there are some great things that he's doing and bringing a new idea into the areas.
Yeah.
But I'm concerned with the technology in one place and cosmetology, and then you got plumbing and building. Can that be interchangeable?
Let me show you how the system, how we work that.
Okay.
We let the students sign up. Whatever department they want to go to, some may go to Morengo, but they want to be in the heavy equipment area. We will bus them. We bus them there to A.L. Johnson, but they still in Marengo. We got a transportation. They can get those kids there to take up those trades, and they don't have to leave their school.
Very good. That's what you had.
That's right. But
No, she's the mayor, and this is her town. And I think that whatever you want to get on out, go ahead.
Speak, man.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I was gonna change the subject.
Me too.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Because I'm not so concerned with the math and science school or whatever it is in Demopolis. Like I said, I think it's a wonderful thing, but that's not my main concern. My main concern is, and I have a question too, another question. But my main concern, since we have you all here and you all represent this area, and I heard Representative Thomas say that, and there is, it's not just in this, it's with everything. I think people are just, they don't know what to do. They could come to the town hall meetings, but they don't know what to do. They don't know what to talk about, or they have concerns. But I think I want to know what, as Democrats, and everybody here may not be Democrats, I don't know. I'm not just specifically speaking to that party, but since you all are here with the Democratic caucus, I will address it from the issue of Democrats. What are Democrats doing to help us figure out what we need to be doing, boots on the ground, what we need to be doing to try to help you all do a better job. Not that you're not doing an efficient job, but help you do a better job to represent us so that some of these things that we are seeing, these $8 eggs, and you said 7, but I pay $8.50 for a dozen of eggs. My daughter asked to borrow an egg, and I told her, no, you can have a pack of pork chops or anything else, but you can have no eggs. But what can we do? What can we do to help you all represent us better? Because right now, I'm concerned about the Democratic Party all over because we don't seem to be being represented well. Am I the only one that's feeling like that? Maybe I am, but I am feeling like that. Like, what is going on?
I feel it.
Well, when you say boots on the ground is wrong, you have to be truly during election time. Mr. Jackson knows I can't work no more for him. That's what I call.
That's not what she's talking about.
No, that's
No,
not
I'm
what
not
she's
talking
talking about.
that. No.
She's talking about
She's talking
performance.
about, we got a
What is she doing?
dysfunctional
Oh,
party.
okay.
Yeah, that's what she's talking about.
Yeah. Boots on the ground.
If it wasn't for
Get out,
us
get-
elected members
I
of
got
that,
you. I got
we
you.
don't have no contact with the parties. Who is the Democratic Party in the state of Alabama? So we don't have that.
Kelly is the chair.
And see, I want time out here from them when they want to fundraise.
Yeah.
What are the objectives of us now going forward? I got upset with on the national level, at the state of the union address. All of the Democrats should have got walked out when they put Al Green out. But we sat there and looked at these people. You sent a message by your actions.
Exactly.
So I came through demonstrations, I came through protests, I came through rebellious times. So I'm not gonna sit there and listen to that crap when it ain't helping the folks that I represent. You get up, then you kick my brother out, and nobody get up and walk out with him. That's troubling me. He brought up something this while ago. This is not to your answer, but we do need a leader from the state party and the national party trying to get things together. But when I was down there fighting for the people, they showed up to stand with me, and that's what we don't come together in that manner anymore. We need unity. We need a plan, and we need to set that plan 67 counties wide.
And the reason we stood up, and I think this is the message that if we could get it out, is that if you are able to shut down his voice, then you already shut down my voice.
All right.
I think if we as a group of people will understand that our voices are the only thing that we have, the freedom to actually talk about things within the confines of, we all have laws and things of that nature that we are to abide by, But sometimes I think we have to get in what is called good trouble.
Yeah.
And that's where when someone is going to violate the rights that you have because they feel they are in a position that they can do it, then you can't just stand there and take it. You have to say whatever it takes. Just like he said, if you want to bring them in here, they're gonna have to take me out, but I'm not shutting up. And see that he understood that was the right, but he thought he could tell him what to do.
Bully.
And he could bully him. But
Can I say something? But you also got to listen to what the people are saying. Like, for instance, when you're talking about Choose Act, you have working class families who fought for that as well. It wasn't just the rich people because they weren't satisfied with their local schools and there were problems. I know plenty of kids when they switch school systems, it's a different kid because because that other environment did not fit that child. So to say that it's going to do this and that, that's not a narrative that a lot of community members that look like all of us, they don't all feel that way. And when if the tone is sometimes you're wrong for thinking that way, you're not going to get them to show up at the polls for you anymore. It's not so much that people don't care about voting. What are we voting for? The Black Belt is rich in land. It is no reason why we are behind. I go to these other places and talk to other leaders. They're not as smart as the people that I know. I'm like, why aren't we doing anything? You know, one of the things I like about Demopolis High School, I'm so proud of them for that. They're starting, and Greene County is doing it too. I don't know what Marengo County is doing. They're doing their skid steer certification. Why? Because that's what they're going to need to build them road. So these kids are going to be certified coming out there. So our kids are skilled. That message needs to happen, and it's not happening on the state or federal level. They call up poor black and ugly, and they got this sad violin in the bowl, old black belt, and they sell that different song and give us a little and think that that is enough. And we need to say that we are doing these things, and these kids are getting good jobs, and they don't want to go to Louisiana, and they don't want to go to Mississippi and Florida where those jobs pay, because people are telling them that they're not certified for jobs right in their backyard. So those things need. You have juniors in school. RC has different schools that are partnering with Wallace that in junior year are certified welders. These kids are going, so their whole curriculum need to be on finance. It need to be tailored to them. So when you fight against, instruction and education, it ain't working for everybody. And that's a reality that I think that they don't get. Yes, public schools are important, but if you're not serving a child well, how is that child going to be productive? And so that means that you got to tailor to the needs of the child. And then that goes back to your point, make everybody the same. And I understand that. But sometimes on the Democratic level, it comes out that way, and you have community members telling you that. It was a lady that did a speech from the Black Caucus, and she said something in her speech. And that's something that I think the Democrats need to click so you can be able to get your voters on what you need to sustain. And making sure that your candidates are listening to the folk that put them in office, even if it go against on what they is, and then sit down with them and explain your view, but also listen to their point of view so you all can work together. But one of the things that she said was that we're not listening to the people. We have been working a particular way, and we know that way working, but to the community it is not, and that's where your disconnect is. And if you start working on those relationships, that's how you can get back. It's not that people don't care about voting, it's who are we voting for. I go vote, but I don't vote for everybody because everybody doesn't deserve my vote. And I think that that's important to say, and it doesn't make me a bait or an outsider simply because I don't agree with that. And I think that that's the gap that you guys are missing on the Democratic side of things, and that's why your party is the way that it is.
Well, that's what we're doing. That's why we're here. This is a listening to it. This town hall is listening. We're listening to what your concerns are.
Right. It's a start. It's a good start.
It is. I think that just because it's just a few people here, I think that it needs to be done again, and maybe at a different time, because
let it grow.
I do think that people want to hear what you all have to say, and I do think they want you all to hear what they have to say. And just because it's just a handful of folks here, that doesn't mean that if you schedule it again or you do it again, folks are not going to come.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that it needs to be done consistently, and I think that it needs to be done at times when people can come, because you do have people in districts who care about what's going on. I care about more than what's going on in my city. I care about what's going on across the state and in the county, because it affects me, because I'm a resident of the county and of the state as well. And so that's why I think that it's important that we know what is going on with the Democratic Party, because sometimes I sit back and I look, I don't even watch the news anymore, but I sit back and I look and I'm like, where we at, y'all? Where we at? You know, because we not anywhere. And I don't know if it's just me that's feeling like that, but that's just how I feel.
Let me ask a question.
Let me ask.
What you think?
Since you mentioned time, what would be a good time for
I think
time?
on a Thursday at 5 or 5:30, but Saturdays are never good, because folks like me, the
Work
only day
off.
I have off is on a Saturday, and then Sunday is church. I get one day off a week, and I don't get that day off, depending on what meetings I have. But I think if you put the word out in various forms, and then do it, because I got my police chief here and they ready to go, but I told them they couldn't leave right now. I asked them to stay with me, but Thursday, not Wednesday, that's Bible study. But Tuesday, Monday is never good, but I'm thinking of Thursday around 5:30. Those are times that people will come out, and you will have a lot more people in here who want to know and who want to share their feelings and thoughts.
Let me see. The reason why we're here today is because we're in session Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
And
when we
see,
get out of
that's
session, we can do
that's
it.
our, when we're in session, then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is out for us.
Right.
When we're out of session, you know, we got the whole week. But I agree, Thursday, you know, that would be a good time.
What time do y'all usually get out of session? About 3, 4?
No certain time.
Depends.
No, sir.
It was a depends. 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night.
See,
sometimes.
we got the calendar for this coming Tuesday, and we don't go in until 1 o'clock on
Okay.
Tuesday, and there are 24 bills on this
Whoa.
calendar.
How many more days you got? 3, 4?
We have 5. We have
What about
5.
Sunday afternoons? Like a 3 or 4?
People don't want
People don't
just
want
like
it.
they go
You
to
have
church.
programs.
Shoes, that's it. I ain't going back out there.
Yeah, you have other
Get ready for the week.
But we, you know, our last day this year is maybe going to be May 8th. We can go as far as, I think, the 15th. So if they are trying to make it where if the governor doesn't, if it doesn't look like the governor is going to veto anything, then we'll probably get out on May 8th. If it looks like the governor is going to veto something, then our last day would probably be May 15th.
3 days.
We're doing a 3-day.
Why don't you do a quarter? You don't need to be doing it to Tuesday.
Do it.
Like
But
quarter.
I know you
Like a quarterly meeting.
And then
Even
on a
if
Sunday.
you're out of session, you can give, you know what I'm saying, that'll be an update of what you know, discuss and how they're flowing with what the community is looking for.
One of the things I'm going to try and do, and I'm going to get with Jamal and Clete as to how we can do it, is I'm going to try and do our next meeting, we're going to try and do a Zoom screen.
Okay, yeah.
And get it where, you know, people can zoom into it, but we're going to have somebody that
I don't
can.
like that concept.
You don't like that?
I think it should be both. I think it should be live and in person.
There should be a
Just get you
live
some mics to
Yeah,
hook up to
we're gonna- yeah,
to your
it would be
phone so
live.
people can hear you online clearly. That's all you have to do. If you could get a portable mic, all you have to do is hook it up to your phone. And if you got someone that you're working with from the caucus, that could be something that could be added to his budget to buy him the equipment that he needs to make a live action do.
Well, on the extension side, we do have that equipment to do it here with the extension office. Now, I don't have anything to do with this building, there's Ann on this side, but I know that on my side, we can handle the live streaming and all that kind of stuff.
With the microphone on.
Yes,
So then
put it on the
that's
screen.
in person and Zoom will have 2 options.
Yeah, I just want to know, after we wrap up, I want to get a picture with everybody, like the elected officials and
Oh, well, I ain't
stuff in the police department.
So we want to know, again, and we can go back to that, but about funding for, and I know, you know, of course I know grants and all of that, how you have to apply for grants, but is there any way I could not be put on Facebook for this question?
No, just save it for later, for this live.
Okay.
Well, Mr. McCcampbell, I just want to say thank you, and Commissioner Armstead and Representative Jackson. I see Commissioner Martin been working all day, he came in here. But I just want to say thank you because this gives us an idea of how you care about your district and the folks in your district. And I don't think when you go talking about this district, you use the whole state of Alabama when you're talking, but we really appreciate when you all take out the time to hear our voice. And I can truly say that if I wanted to call you, Mr. McCcampbell, I can. I have your phone number. That's what we need, people in leadership that we can reach out to. We don't have to wait until till something happens. If I need something with Armstead, I can call him. His number's not private, well I can. And that's what we want. And I think that was some of the things that will help, even though I had the wrong boots on the ground, where them fans that had the wrong concept.
That's all he's thinking, everybody's head.
Wrong concept of it, but you know, being able to be, and that's what, to me, that helps build the party when people can get up and adequately say that we have a great party, we have a person, we have our representatives here that we can go to and we can talk to, and they understand and they listen to us. And I think if you all can show more of that, it can show stability. You know, that sign they have up there, fight the power, it seems like we're together and we're in unity. And I just say thank you.
Well, I like the idea of a quarterly town hall. And we decided to try it on a Saturday because we had been having dismal, groups or crowds other days. And we've gone to, I've had them in Sumter, had them over in Tuscaloosa, up in Pickens, and they've been, so I decided we'd try something different, a new day when everybody would be off, but then I find out, well, I can't stop people from dying and having
You can't stop it.
Yes.
But if we connect to the music.
I was gonna say, I also think if everybody in this room commits to getting the word out, that this is gonna happen, I think there would have been more attendance today.
Okay.
And I'll own that for me in my position.
Thank you, Gumptown Magazine, for tuning in. This is Marengo County's Town Hall. Stay engaged. We're gonna upload this video to our YouTube channel. Gumptown, we be everywhere.